And out of all this mess, this figure appears almost from nowhere. No hint at all of the genius he'd become.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a really complex time to study,
Oh.
a real whirlwind. The records we have, they often clash. Getting the exact sequence of events down, well, it's challenging.
Mm.
But even with that uncertainty, you definitely see these key people starting to emerge, shaping what comes next, often without really knowing the full impact they'd have.
Exactly. And that's our focus today. This one guy, Han Xin, started with basically nothing, destitute. How did he navigate all that chaos? How did he become this, like, legendary military strategist? And maybe more importantly, what can we learn from his journey? Lessons about talent, sheer grit, and grabbing that opportunity when it finally shows up. Let's get into it.
So, okay, the general gone. Shang Yu steps up. He's been central to the rebellion, the big hero figure. He tries to establish a new order, puts himself at the top as hegemon king, trying to, I guess, manage all these other states.
But it just doesn't stick at all. That whole new structure, it dissolved almost instantly into conflict everywhere.
A total mess.
Yeah, a colossal mess is right. And it got brutal fast. You had regional players making power grabs immediately. Like
Yeah.
Tianrong in the east, he moves super quickly to unify the Qi regions, kicks out rival kings, kills them even. Then he allies with Chen Yu.
Right.
And Shang Yu himself, while trying to be the big boss, makes some pretty harsh moves too.
Yeah.
He stops King Sheng of Han from going back to his own kingdom, and then eventually just has him killed.
Yeah. It really shows you how fragile that whole setup was.
Yeah.
Just incredibly volatile. And pinning down exact dates for things like, say, when Liu Bang made certain moves. Very tough. The accounts vary.
Into all that, this backdrop of, well, warlords fighting and political backstabbing. That's where we first meet Han Xin. He's from Huayan, which used to be part of the old Chu state. That's Huayan City now. And the background is interesting. Possibly noble, maybe even descended from Korean royalty, but completely broke, like utterly destitute.
That's the key thing. Whatever his lineage might have hinted at, his reality was poverty.
Yeah.
No real job skills, couldn't get into business. He literally had to rely on others just to eat.
Tough.
Really tough. There's that famous story, isn't there, about him eating at the home of the Nanchang Pavilion chief for months
Yeah.
until the chief's wife got fed up. She apparently started cooking super early and having the family eat in bed, so when Lan Xin showed up, nothing was left.
Ouch. That's cold.
He got the message, left angry. But it paints a picture, right? Then there's the other story, the laundress by the river.
Right, he was trying to fish, still struggling?
And this old woman, a washerwoman, she sees him hungry day after day and just feeds him for dozens of days out of pity.
And he promises to repay her big time later on. Her response is amazing.
It is. She says something like, "A great man can't even feed himself. I pitied you, young lord. I don't expect repayment."
That term she uses, young lord, what's the significance there?
Well, after Qin unified everything, a lot of old nobles from the conquered states were just scattered, became commoners. So young lord became this sort of honorific, maybe used for men who seemed like they had potential or maybe carried themselves a certain way, hinting at a hidden background, like she saw something in him despite the rags.
Which makes the next story even harder to hear. The ultimate humiliation.
Yeah, the marketplace incident. Some local butcher's kid sees Han Xin, who was apparently quite tall and carried a sword, maybe trying to look the part of a warrior despite having no position, and taunts him, calls him a coward. Then one day, right in front of everyone, challenges him, "Stab me if you're brave. If not, crawl between my legs."
Ah, that's brutal.
And Han Xin, he stares at the guy for a moment. Then he actually does it. Bends down, crawls between the butcher's son's legs while the whole crowd laughs at him.
Why? Why endure that?
It tells you so much, doesn't it? Incredible self-control, a focus on a bigger picture, maybe. He had understood that losing face then was less important than surviving, perhaps, or preserving himself for some future goal he already had in mind. It wasn't weakness, it was strategic patience, enduring pain for a purpose.
Wow. Okay, so after hitting rock bottom like that, he finally tries the military route. He joins Shang Ling's army first. Shang Yu's uncle, just a regular soldier.
Yeah, and when Shang Lang dies, he moves over to Shang Yu's command, gets a slightly better job, palace guard, so he's physically close to Shang Yu. He apparently tried offering strategic ideas multiple times, but Shang Yu just didn't see it, didn't listen. Han Xin's potential was completely overlooked.
Which leads him to make a really bold move.
Incredibly bold. Liu Bang, another rebel leader, gets pushed off into this remote area, the Hanzong region, basically exiled by Shang Yu. And Han Xin decides to leave Shang Yu, the dominant power, the hegemon. and join Liu Bang, whose future looked really uncertain.
That takes serious guts, betting on the underdog when the top dog doesn't appreciate you.
Exactly. But even joining Liu Bang doesn't solve his problems immediately.
No kidding. He gets another low-level job, right? Something like Liu.
Yeah, basically overseeing supplies or provisions.
Yeah.
Not exactly a path to glory. And then things get even worse. He somehow breaks a military rule and gets sentenced to death.
Jeez. Again, it's like he can't escape misfortune.
Seems that way. So picture this. He's on the execution ground. 13 guys have already been executed before him. It's his turn. He looks up, sees Xiao He, one of Liu Bang's trusted commanders, and shouts out something like, "Doesn't the king want to conquer the empire? Why are you executing a strong man?"
Desperate times. A last-ditch appeal to ambition.
And it works. Xiao He is struck by his words, maybe his presence, his sheer audacity. He stops the execution, talks to Han Xin, and is impressed.
Finally, a break.
Sort of. Xiao Yang recommends him to Liu Bang. But Liu Bang, even then, what does he do? Appoints him supervisor of grain. Due. Still a minor role, managing granaries.
Unbelievable. Still stuck. After all that.
It really highlights the struggle, doesn't it? This future military mastermind is just bouncing around low-level posts, nearly gets executed. Fate is really testing him.
Okay, so what finally turns the tide? There has to be a turning point.
There is, and it involves Liu Bang's chancellor, Xiao He. The setting is crucial here. Liu Bang's army is moving. They're trekking through these really difficult mountains, the Qinling Range, heading towards Nanjing, the capital of Liu Bang's assigned kingdom.
And morale is low, right? Lots of desertion.
Exactly. Most of the soldiers were from eastern regions. They had no connection to this remote land of Shu and Hanzhong. They just wanted to go home. So guys were slipping away every day.
Makes sense.
And Han Xin, he's likely been in Nanjing for a bit, probably hoping Xiao, his recommendation, or maybe others he had spoken to would lead somewhere. But nothing changed. Still the grain supervisor or something similar. So utterly disillusioned, he decides, that's it, I'm out.
Yeah.
And he joins the deserters. He leaves.
He deserts Liu Bang.
Wow. And that act is the trigger. It leads to one of the most famous stories, Xiao He chasing Han Xin under the moonlight.
Ah, yes. So Xiao, he finds out Han Xin has left.
Someone reports to Liu Bang that Chancellor Xiao He himself has disappeared. Liu Bang absolutely panics. He feels like he's lost his right and left arms. Xiao, he was that important.
Oh, so Liu Bang thought Xiao He deserted too?
For a day or two, yes. Then Xiao He comes back. Liu Bang is relieved, but also furious and confused. He confronts him, basically says, look, dozens of officers have deserted. I didn't hear about you chasing any of them. Why only Han Xin?
Good question.
And Xiao, his answer is just legendary.
Yeah.
He tells Liu Bang straight up, those other officers, easy to replace. A dime a dozen. But Han Xin, there is literally no one like him in the entire country.
Wow. What a statement.
He lays it out strategically. If your majesty just wants to be king of Hanzhong forever, fine. You don't need Han Xin. But, he says, if you want to contend for the empire, then Han Xin is the one man you absolutely cannot do without.
That must have hit Liu Bang hard, because Liu Bang did have bigger ambitions, right?
Absolutely. Liu Bang admits it right there. He says, of course I want to go east. How can I just stay stuck here forever? Xiao, he basically tapped right into Liu Bang's deepest desire.
It's amazing foresight from Xiao He, seeing that potential when Liu Bang himself hadn't really acted on it, even after recommendations.
It really is. It's about recognizing that unique, game-changing talent, looking past the current low status or the setbacks. Xiao was the indispensable piece for the bigger puzzle.
And that phrase Liu Bang uses, return east, not just go north to Guanzhong. That really suggests he was already thinking beyond just getting back his original territory. He is thinking about taking on Shangyu.
That's a sharp observation. It does suggest a grander vision simmering beneath the surface, even while he's just setting up shop in Hansan. Why him? Maybe it was his personality, more flexible, more willing to gamble than some other warlords, content with their own fiefdoms.
Or maybe Xiao, powerful argument, just crystallized it for him, gave shape to that ambition.
Quite possibly, Xiao. He essentially said, here's the key to unlock that imperial dream you're nursing. And Liu Bang listened.
Which leads to this incredible scene, the appointment ceremony.
Right, Liu Bang initially was just going to give Han Xin a command. But Xiao He insists, no, it has to be Supreme Commander Da Jianzhong.
And Liu Bang agrees, just like that, without even really interviewing Han Xin in depth.
Apparently so. He sets up this grand, formal ceremony, an altar, specific rituals, very solemn. And then he announces the new Supreme Commander is Han Xin. The guy nobody knew, the former grain supervisor, the near executee. The entire army was just stunned.
Yeah.
Shocked.
You can imagine the whispers going through the ranks. Who is this guy?
Exactly. But then comes the crucial conversation after the ceremony. Liu Bang sits down with his new commander, and Han Xin brilliantly steers the conversation. He starts by getting Liu Bang to admit Xiang Yu's strengths, his personal bravery, his ferocity, his seeming kindness, his power. Build him up.
Okay.
Then Han Xin just dismantles each one. Xiang Yu's courage. Oh, that's just the bravery of a common man, he says. Meaning, yeah, he's fearless in a fight himself, but he can't delegate, can't use talented generals effectively. He fights like a soldier, not a commander-in-chief.
Ah, I see. Personal courage versus strategic command.
Precisely. And Xiang Yu's supposed benevolence. Han Xin calls it the kindness of a woman.
Ouch. What does that mean?
It means Xiang Yu might seem kind, might weep for his sick soldiers, share his food, but when it comes to actually rewarding merit, promoting deserving officers, giving out fiefs and real power, he hesitates. He clings to control. He can't bring himself to truly empower his subordinates. That fosters resentment, not loyalty.
Wow. So Han Xin just reframed Xiang Yu's biggest perceived advantages into critical weaknesses. That's genius political maneuvering right there.
Pure psychological brilliance. And then he gives Liu Bang the positive plan. Use the bravest fighters you can find, reward people generously based on merit, give them land, titles, don't be like Xiang Yu, and, crucially, tap into the soldiers' homesickness. They want to go east. Use that desire now as fuel for the campaign before they settle down and lose that edge.
Makes perfect sense. Strike while the iron is hot, psychologically speaking.
And he layers on more strategic analysis.
Yeah.
Guansong, the old Qin heartland, currently held by 3 surrendered Qin generals appointed by Xiang Yu. Han Xin points out, the people there hate those 3 kings because of past atrocities, especially the massacre of surrendered Qin soldiers at Xinan. Deep-seated resentment. Contrast that, Han Xin says, with Liu Bang's entry into Guanzhong earlier. He was disciplined, fair, abolished the harsh Qin laws, set up a simple code. He won popular support.
So the ground is fertile for Liu Bang's return.
Exactly. Han Xin basically says, those 3 Qin kingdoms, we can take them back almost just by showing up and making a proclamation. The people are on our side. It's a complete blueprint for reconquest.
An amazing display of strategic depth from someone who just weeks before was supervising grain.
Truly incredible. And Liu Bang buys in completely.
So the plan is set. How quickly do they move?
Very quickly. In August, not long after the appointment, the Guano launches the attack on Yang, the kingdom led by Zhang Han, one of the 3 kings. They take the old road, the Chengkang Trail.
And this is where that famous idiom comes from.
Right. Minshu Zandao and Du Chengkang. Repair the gallery roads openly, advance via Chengkang secretly. Now, whether they were literally doing loud repairs on one road as a diversion is debated by historians, but the principle is classic Han Xin. Misdirection. Make your enemy look one way while you strike from another. Feint and attack.
And did it work?
Spectacularly well. Zhang Han was caught off guard. Defeated at Chengkang, he fell back to Hoki, he was beaten again, then he retreated further and got besieged.
Wow, just like that, rolling them up.
Pretty much. Guansong was pacified relatively quickly. The other 2 Qing kings, Sima Xin and Dong Yi, surrendered soon after. The whole region fell back into Liu Bang's hands.
A stunning success. He even felt secure enough to send troops back to get his family, who were still in Xiang Yu's territory, right?
Yeah, that's a practical detail that shows how confident they were after securing Guanzhong. But it's worth remembering, while it sounds easy in the retelling, this was still a major military achievement. Getting an army from Handong over the mountains into Guanzhong is historically very difficult. Just ask Zhuge Liang later on.
Good point.
Han Xin's brilliance was key, exploiting Zhang Han's weaknesses and the population's sentiment. But it was definitely a hard-fought campaign that required skillful execution, not just a walkover.
So, stepping back, Han Xin's arc is just unbelievable. From being humiliated, nearly executed, totally overlooked, to becoming the supreme commander who engineers this brilliant campaign that basically lays the foundation for Liu Bang's eventual empire.
It really is one of history's great turnaround stories. His foresight was incredible, but it also depended crucially on Xiao. He seeing that potential when no one else did, and Liu Bang being willing to take that massive gamble.
It speaks volumes about recognizing talent, doesn't it? And the power of deep strategic thinking, plus just having the guts to make those huge, risky moves.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that sometimes the most valuable assets are hidden, overlooked.
Yeah.
And that understanding the why, the psychology, the context, a deeper strategy can unlock solutions that aren't obvious on the surface. That applies far beyond ancient battlefields.
So, as we wrap up, here's something for you, our listener, to think about. Reflecting on Han Xin's journey, is there some challenge in your own life, maybe your work, that seems totally stuck? Or maybe some potential in yourself or someone else that's going unrecognized? What would it take to see that situation differently, to apply a bit of that Han Xin strategic creativity, that unconventional thinking, to unlock a path forward? Something to ponder until our next deep dive.
If you found this discussion useful, maybe learned something new, definitely hit that subscribe button. We do these deep dives regularly, exploring valuable ideas.
We appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.